Hello everyone, welcome back to Nova Real Estate Solutions. I'm Dwight Morris, a probate and estate specialist at Innovation Properties in Fairfax, Virginia. If you're dealing with the loss of a loved one in Virginia, you've likely heard the term probate. It can sound intimidating, filled with legal jargon that's hard to understand. Well, in today's video, I'm going to break down the mystery of Virginia probate by explaining 10 key terms and definitions you absolutely need to know. Understanding these basics can make the entire process feel less overwhelming. So grab a pen and paper or just settle in, because we're about to demystify Virginia probate together. Let's get started. Before we dive into specific terms, let's quickly recap what probate actually is in Virginia. Simply put, probate is the legal process of administering a deceased person's estate. This involves validating their will, if there is one, identifying and inventorying their assets, paying off any debts and taxes, and distributing the remaining assets to the rightful beneficiaries. It's essentially the court overseeing the orderly transfer of someone's belongings after they pass away. All right, let's get into the vocabulary. Our first key term is testator, if the deceased was male, or testatrix, if the deceased was female. This is simply the person who made the will. Think of them as the will maker. So if your loved one created a last will and testament, they are referred to as the testator or testatrix. Speaking of wills, our next crucial term is the will, often referred to as the last will and testament. This is a legal document that outlines how the testator or testatrix wants their assets to be distributed after their death. A valid Virginia will typically needs to be in writing, signed by the testator or someone they direct to sign in their presence, and witnessed by at least 2 credible witnesses who were present at the signing. Now, who is responsible for carrying out the instructions in the will or managing the estate if there isn't one? That brings us to our next terms. Executor, if they are named in the will, or administrator, if there is no will, or if the named executor cannot or will not serve. It's important to know that in Virginia, probate proceedings, both the executor and the administrator, are referred to by the official title of personal representative. So whether your loved one had a will and named an executor, or if the court appointed an administrator because there wasn't a will, you'll likely see them referred to in court documents and legal processes as the personal representative of the estate. This personal representative is appointed by the court to manage the probate process. They are responsible for tasks like gathering assets, paying debts, and ultimately distributing the remaining property to the beneficiaries or heirs. And who receives those assets when there is a will? They are called beneficiaries. These are the individuals, organizations, or entities named in the will to inherit the deceased person's property. If there is no will, the individuals who inherit are the heirs, as determined by Virginia law. What happens if someone passes away without a valid will? In that case, they are said to have died intestate. When someone dies intestate in Virginia, the law dictates how their assets will be distributed to their closest relatives. When someone dies intestate, that is without a will, the individuals who are legally entitled to inherit their property are called heirs. Virginia law has a specific order of priority for determining who the heirs are, typically starting with the surviving spouse and children, then parents, siblings, and so on. It's important to understand that the term heir specifically applies when there is no will. If there is a will, the people who inherit are called beneficiaries. And while a beneficiary might also be an heir, the terms are distinct in this context. The probate estate refers to the assets that are subject to the probate process. This generally includes assets owned solely by the deceased in their name without any beneficiary designation or joint ownership with rights of survivorship. It's also important to understand what doesn't go through probate. These are called non-probate assets. Common examples include property held in joint tenancy with right of survivorship, assets with designated beneficiaries like life insurance policies and retirement accounts, assets held in a living trust. These assets typically pass directly to the named beneficiaries or joint owners without court intervention. The fiduciary is a person who has a legal duty to act in the best interests of another party. In the context of probate, the personal representative, executor, or administrator acts as a fiduciary for the beneficiaries and creditors of the estate. This means they have a responsibility to manage the estate honestly and responsibly. For our 10th key term, let's discuss the inventory. Once the personal representative is appointed, one of their crucial responsibilities is to prepare and file an inventory with the court. This is a detailed list of all the assets that belong to the probate estate, including their estimated values. The inventory provides a clear picture of what the deceased owned and what will be subject to administration and distribution. So there you have it, 10 key terms and definitions that will help you navigate the world of Virginia probate. While this is just an introduction, understanding these basics is a crucial first step. Remember, probate can be complex, and it's always a good idea to consult with a qualified Virginia attorney for personalized legal advice regarding your specific situation. You can also find helpful resources on the website of the Virginia courts. If you have questions, my contact information is in the video description, or just leave me questions in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more informative content. Let me know in the comments below if you've got any questions about Virginia probate or other related topics you'd like us to cover.